Today we're taking a closer look at Canope, the 10th piece in Debussy's second book of Preludes. A canope, or a canopic urn or jar, or funeral urn, was used in the mummification process by Egyptians to store the entrails of the noble one who was getting mummified. But for Debussy, it was seeing a rather beautiful painting of the outside of that urn. What is remarkable about this piece to me is the way that Debussy uses harmonics and overtones, the way he uses the piano in really imaginative ways. The pianist Claudio actually thought that this was one of the greatest preludes. And I think that I and others often overlook it, even though I've performed it fairly early on, and we'll get to see some ways that I approached it earlier in life and things that I'll suggest to you now to explore. Because it didn't seem very hard. It's 3 pages, it's slow, but there's so much depth to it. And the first thing I'd like to actually explore with you is harmonics. So in the harmonics series, we have overtones. And so when you hear this, these notes, the ones that I played up higher, they get weaker and weaker as we go up. I'm going to sort of cheat for the sake of demonstration and actually play a C octave down here. And it's going to be pretty loud. And what I'm going to do is silently cover the first overtone to demonstrate this. So I'm actually pedaling it for a moment and seeing, and actually no, I'm not going to pedal it until after I release this as a staccato. So here we go. Now the next one. You'll notice that I actually struck that chord a little bit softly, so I had to retake it silently. I'm going to go to the next one. You see they're getting weaker. That one's still pretty strong. You might be able to hear this, and if you can't hear this, you can do them at home. I won't go very much farther. And so it's important to understand how harmonics are used. It helps us in our understanding of pedaling. For example, the last chord in this piece is this one. And by setting this up, Debussy, his final melody goes, it's very soft. And it sets up a kind of atmosphere that's very exotic, very Middle Eastern. And Debussy was influenced by the gamelan. And the gamelan has melody kind of emerges from harmonics a lot of the time. And although we're still playing a piano, which is dealing with semitones, the gamelan has many microtones in between. So these kind of works seem to be experimental in nature. Anything where Debussy is, I can't think of anything else right now off the top of my head that is quite like Canope, but he definitely did other experiments. But this would be the prototypical piece at the piano.